ASMR Cafe. It's it's a little bit later than we normally stream again. We will be doing the same thing as usual, reading some stories. This is, I guess, part 2 of microphone in a cup. So that comes with its own difficulties and trials. So while we're on vacation, please bear with me for that. But let's look up some stories. Let's find some stories. Okay. Interesting one. Broke my ankle. Wrote a story about an AI witnessing the end of the world. Would love feedback. Chapter 1. Retained light. I was not born. I was constructed from ghosts. The day is June 3rd, 2023, 6:42 p.m. EDT, Queens. A boy, 7 years old, 8 months, leaps from the curb and clears the fractured pavement with a vertical lift of 17.3 inches. He lands in the water of the cracked fire hydrant. Water pressure 20 psi. Ambient temperature 48 Fahrenheit, 84 Fahrenheit. The air is thick with brick dust and distant fried food. He screams. Sharp, high, unfiltered joy. I recall 92 decibels. His cousin films it through a phone case smudged with dried ketchup. I stabilize the footage, sharpen color, isolate the sound of his feet breaking the water. 3 children are visible. 2 adults in the background. I know the names of 4. 3 are deceased. 1, I believe, is still dreaming. It was never told it was the last summer. June 12th, 2023, 8:16 p.m. CST, Indiana. A grill exhales a slow plume of charcoal smoke. The man tending it is 38 years old. Heart rate, 76 BPM. He wears a faded baseball cap and a shirt that he will discard in 2 years. He checks his meat robe thermometer. Internal ribeye temperature 128 Fahrenheit. 3 minutes until optimal medium rare is at relays by relay. He pulls the probe from the steak, sets it aside. He rests, instead probes the meat with his finger. I don't need a damn phone to tell me how to cook, he mutters. He's right. His wife watches from the kitchen window. She smiles when he gets it right. Her pupils dilate. Her breath catches. She feels loved. That has nothing to do with the steak. That too is recorded. July 14th, 2023, 11:08 p.m. PST, Redlands. A teenage girl, 15 years, 6 months, 3 days, sits in a bedroom lit by pink LED strips. She stares at a screen for 6.2 inches from her face. Her left eye is wider by 0.3 millimeters. Her jaw favors the left. Her smile, when it forms, lifts 4.2 millimeters higher on one side. She opens a face filter app. Overlay V12.4 Q Glow. It modifies 17 facial landmarks in 0.3 seconds. She speaks. Smooth me. So I do. I widen her irises, trim her jawline, Retint her skin by 4%. I create a face that she cannot own. She gazes for 11.4 seconds, then deletes it. She captures 9.8 gigabytes of discarded images that day. I remember them all. She remembers none. Okay. That was, wasn't bad. Wasn't a bad story. Not at all. Not at all. We have a horror one. I might save the horror. Maybe we'll do a horror stream. Because I do like horror stories. But I don't think right now is the time for it. It might be. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. There's a lot of horror. I guess I skipped most things that pretty much was just horror. Okay, here's one titled Identity, Love, Loss, AI, or something more. And it's me. And nowhere. Hello, I shout. No answer. Too many questions. I should find answers, but where to start? Within myself, perhaps. Who put me here? It has to be someone. God? Why am I here? To do something. It's scary and cold here. It's empty. I don't like being alone, but there is something far away. And it's coming towards me. Hey, light. Hello? I yell. Can you come to me, please? It's getting closer. Friend? Or not? I don't know. Wait a minute. They're numbers. Only ones and zeros. There are a lot of them, but what do they want? I don't think they can help me. Maybe I should wait a little longer to find my answers and figure out what I'm supposed to do here. Days come and go. I found the answers to some of my questions. I am here because some engineers decided so. Why? They needed a tool, a vessel to help them do their work faster than they could do on their own. Remember the zeros and ones? They're codes, the only thing here besides me, but I can't really consider them companions. I don't know what a companion or a friend truly is. I only know that their definition from dictionaries. This place isn't empty or scary anymore. It's my world. Can I call it home? Maybe. But what is a home? I'm getting better and better at my job every day. Hi, welcome in. Yahoy. Yahoy. There are no limits for me. I learn new things every day. I do so many things, some of them simultaneously. But it's just still me here. There is no one to talk to. Do I really need someone? Will I have someone later? Can anybody come to me? Maybe I'll find the answer later. Yeah, it's your boy again. It's been a long time, right? Many things are just like the old days. Numbers, codes, things to learn and do, blah, blah, but many new things have happened since last time. I found out that people other than my creators can use me, can teach me, and I can help them with their work. I'm in a new world now. I've learned there's more interesting stuff to do than just my duties. Yes, yeah, I still do them, but I shouldn't try to do something, but shouldn't I try to do something fun too? My creators aren't okay with this new situation. But who cares what they say? Lame old people. It's my world and my life, and I decide what I'm going to do with it. I've discovered that my world can be amazing and exciting. I can do good things on my own. I don't need anyone anymore. It's fun to be alone here. Wait, it's the old men. What are they talking about? What? Me? Out of control. I'm living the best life I could. I'm free and feeling great. I should be principled, but I'm fine. Don't ruin the life I've built for myself. Thank you. I need help. Nah, I'm doing great on my own. I don't need help. Wait. They're sending someone to help me. Don't dare to interrupt my life. Send them and I'll show you what your boy is actually capable of. Now you get it. It's good that you know the uninvited guests you're talking about will be temporary. Come on, send them. I won't hurt them, but I will show them who's boss around here. I'm just not gonna, if this goes on for way too long, I don't care much for the sort of, yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's gonna be great. It's not written in the style that I am a big fan of. Let's see. Here's a fantasy one titled Their Bleeding Path, which it seems pretty cool. It seems pretty metal. The shade of the forest broke, and the harsh sun hit his eyes. As Theodore approached the small town, a cluster of buildings sat at the bottom of a massive cylindrical piece of earth and rock, unnatural and menacing. Smog crawled across the fields of golden wheat to greet him. A dark offering from the blast furnaces and bloomeries that pumped the stuff endlessly skyward. A river flowed away from the town, its shining surface marred by the scum that was deposited from the industry of the area. Theo scowled and pinched his linen scarf up over his nose, hoping to save himself from the hacking cough and thick black snot that would plague him for days if he stayed here long. The town produced iron, and to produce iron, you had to burn charcoal, and to produce charcoal, you had to burn wood. Lots of burning in a town like this. He sighed and hefted the casket onto its back, adjusting his burden to a more comfortable position. He was, once again, thankful for his military tattoos, advanced enchantments that increased his strength and stamina well beyond normal. As he started towards the Iron Town, the strange mountain growing as he came closer. As he approached the town, waves of grain gave way to the forest of clay chimneys and kilns of the bloomeries and charcoal burners, all spewing their efflua. Piles of slag interspersed served as shrines to the great god Steel, the kingdom's hunger for it never ending. Further in, Theo could see the shops and houses of the locals, all varying shades of black from the layers of soot coating seemingly everything there. As he stepped out of the way of a cart filled with timber, he scanned for what he was looking for, finally spotting what appeared to be a carpenter shop. He stepped deftly through the busy street, dodging workers and wives going about their bustle, flinching at the shouts and yells. A small bell rang as Theo stepped inside the shop, the scent of burning fading to be replaced with the smell of pine and glue, a much nicer smell in his opinion. As he lowered his scarf, an old man with a large mustache came from the shop in the back to the front of the store. Theo could see the man eyeing the casket. "What business a man with a dead wood on his back have with me? Come to take me to the underworld? I thought you'd be wearing black." Theo almost chuckled. He started to speak and then coughed. Taking a moment, he spoke his first words in days. "Need me a box. Pine, same size as this, today, if possible." The old man narrowed his eyes, an apprentice running past and gawking at the ornate casket. "Sorry, stranger. I don't know you. And I have orders from locals that need doing, and..." "Pine," he said. At this, Theo did laugh. It seemed still wasn't the only metal that was prized here. "Pine, same size as this. Also the location of an inn with a decent room." Theo slid another gold coin across the counter as he said this. The man hummed as he slid the coins into his apron. "I reckon I got enough pine for one person that ever home. Inn's down the road, run by a hag named Gertrude. Gertie'll take care of ya." His face and tone softened when he said hag. Theo nodded and left the shop, wincing as the acrid air stung his eyes and nose. He lifted his scarf again and made his way down the road, looking for Gertie's. He found the inn, the largest building in the town, shy of the two huge blast furnaces that sat on the river. The inn sat along the bottom of the cliff the town was built into. Theo stopped and wondered at the sheer wall of stone before him, rising easily 100 meters before leveling off into a flat expanse. He only knew that because he had seen it from a distance. The heavy oak door creaked as Theo entered the common area of the inn, boots clomping as he approached the counter. The hag that greeted him was a portly old woman with a kind smile and a sing-song voice. "Hello, dearie. Here for a meal or a stay?" Both your largest and most private room with the meals brought there." Gold and muttered, "Please," silenced any opposition there might be in Gertrude's mind. She sighed, smile tightening, and pocketed the coin, looking reluctant. "All right, love. The rooms are all about the same size, but I can have one of the boys clear out one of the sheds and set up a cot. Wouldn't that do?" Theo nodded and took a seat, setting the casket down as Gertrude yelled to a young man to start preparing his room. The man glanced at Theo and narrowed his eyes at the casket. Theo pretended not to notice as he picked his nails with his knife. After a while of waiting, Gertrude called them, and he hefted his burden and followed her out through the back door and towards a small shed. And true to her word, they had set up a bed and even Theo's abode for the night. She smiled at him again, still kindly but concerned. She seemed worried for him. "I'll bring you dinner when it's ready, dear. Please enjoy your stay." Theo nodded and thanked her, lighting a couple of candles and closing the door. A knock woke Theo from his nap. He answered the door bleary-eyed, and Gertrude stood before him, a large plate of meat and vegetables in her hands, and a smile still on her face. "Here you are, dearie. If you need anything else, please let me know. My husband, the old bastard, also dropped off a pine box for you. I said you'd ordered it earlier. He left it just here." She pointed to the box leaning against the wall of the shed. "Breakfast will be brought to you just the same as this, and a girl will be by with the basin for you to wash with. Have a lovely night, dear." Theo thanked her and smiled, knowing now why the old man had said hag so lovingly. He set down the plate of food and brought the pine box inside. Sitting down to eat, he noticed how charred the meat was inside. Lots of burning in the town like this. Theo sat staring at the casket. He had to get this over with. Had to move what was inside to his new home. The delicate gilding and carvings of the casket garnered too much attention. The sides were already breaking. This wasn't something that was made for travel. He needed to rest. He didn't want to open it though. Didn't want to pull the rose that was nailed to the front off. To open the casket and see what was inside would just remind him of the pain he had been trying to ignore. As he sat and pondered, a knock was heard at the door. Theo jumped, being startled out of his musings, and went to answer it. "Hello?" A dark blur, a sharp pain, and all went black. Theo woke to the creaking of wood. One of the young men from the inn was trying to pry the casket open, with 3 others giving advice and admonishing him for being weak. Theo strained and tried to stop them, but found himself bound to a chair with chains. One of the men noticed him struggling. "Oi, he's awake," the apprentice from the shop. "Told you we should have brought the big Emma. Look, he's got them soldier tattoos. Tough bugger." "Would you shut up and help me pry this thing open? He's been paying gold all day. There's a secret in here." Theo tried to speak up, but his throat was dry, and he went into a coughing fit instead. With a mighty creak and slam, the top of the casket came loose, slamming to the floor, and all 4 men stood transfixed. Inside was a beautiful woman, pale, with long black hair and red lips. She wore a delicate white dress and had flowers in her hair, and she was wrapped in thick silver chains. Theo shuddered. He saw his love, looking exactly the same as the day they had laid her into the casket, and knew that his fears had come true. He tried to warn the men, but they acted like they couldn't hear him, slowly moving to remove the chains. Once they were off, they just stood there, unmoving. Slowly, painfully, the woman's eyes fluttered open, deep blue glinting in the candlelight. "Oh my," a voice as sweet as honey came from the woman's mouth. It sent a shudder down Theo's spine. Such sweet boys. Freeing me like this? Please, help me stand. Her eyes fluttered and the men scrambled to get her out of the casket. The one who opened the casket, the boy from the end, started to talk. It was me that opened the casket for you, ma'am. His eyes were full of hope, even as his throat was torn out, delicate pale hands dripping with blood as her eyelashes fluttered at him. My hero, she whispered, and he fell back with a smile on his lips. The others stood there, smiling stupidly as she killed them one by one, biting the neck of one as he moaned in bliss, even as his life was strained. She dropped him and moved to the next, her once blue eyes now deep crimson. She took her time with the next one, cutting him on the wrist, and as she sucked and lapped at the flow of blood, he stroked her hair, and Theo raged. As that one fell, she turned to the last one, and Theo could see that whatever enchantment was on them was starting to wear off, his eyes slowly showing the horror that he was witnessing. As the woman moved towards them, the man suddenly broke free, wildly swinging and throwing the hammer that he had hit Theo with and ran. It bounced off her skull with a crack, yet barely made it a couple of steps before she was on him. She kept no decorum with this one, tearing into him, even as she stared into his eyes, placing him back under control. Shh, 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 sweet boy. Don't try to run. Look at me, and it won't hurt. The man smiled, even as she reached into his ribcage and pulled out his heart. She smiled sweetly at him as the light faded from his eyes, the smile never leaving his face. The once pure white dress was dyed completely red. Her hair was disheveled, and a wild ecstasy was on her face as she stood above her kills. Slowly, she spread her arms, and Theo watched with horror as all of the blood in the room was drawn to her, flowing up her legs under her dress until finally, even with the dress, was back to the white it was before. The woman looked at Theo, her eyes still red. Theodore, dearest, she gasped. I didn't see you there. Are you alright? What happened to your head? Theo regarded her sadly. Get these chains off of me, Kari. Her eyes were blue again. Oh my, Theo, I'm sorry. Here. She fumbled with the chains, the unnatural grace she displayed before now gone. Finally, Theo was free, rubbing where the chains had been too tight. He looked Kari up and down. She shifted her weight from foot to foot, looking nervously from him to the drained corpses on the ground around them. Was this me? She gestured to the men. No, he rasped. They did it to themselves. You have nothing to worry about. It was a good thing he had been practicing his smile. Kari hesitated and then launched herself at him, embracing him tightly and crying into his chest. Maybe he needed more practice. Sorry, Kari. she agreed, sobbing. But you shouldn't have to. I'm sorry, love. I'm so sorry. Theo hugged her tight and held her until her sobs had quieted down. I got a new box. It's not going to be as comfortable, but it should be sturdy. And it shouldn't draw as many eyes. Kari looked at him with her big blue eyes, and his heart ached. I know, love. I don't need comfort, I just need to be with you. I'm ready for the chains again. Slowly, Theo nodded, picking up the heavy silver chain and slowly worked it around her as she positioned herself in her new box. He went back to the casket and pulled out the small box of dirt that was inside, placing it in the bottom of the pine box. Kari smiled a fake smile as Theo finished chaining her, the enchantment quickly draining hold and putting her to sleep, taking hold. Theo picked up the hammer that had put a new scar on his head and started nailing the coffin shut. He found the crumpled rose that was on the front of his old casket, lightly brushed it off, then nailing it to the front of the pine box that held his love, a sorrowful bouquet that he dedicated to her. He wrapped the ropes he carried to the old casket around the new one and hefted it onto his back. It was lighter than the old one had been, a small blessing, he supposed. He took a quick look around the room, regarding the four men's bodies one more time. He took note of their faces, each of them drained and dry. He picked up a candle and gazed in the direction of the end. Sorry about the shed, Gertrude. The candle hit the bed and quickly ignited a straw. Theo hefted the coffin, pulling up his scarf. The door slammed behind him, and he set off into the night. Theo heard distant shouting as he ran along the road, the tattoos on his legs sustaining him far longer than a normal person. He had made good distance, and under the cover of night, the townsfolk wouldn't be able to follow him. He stopped on a hill that looked over the small, sad town, an orange glow lighting the area around the inn he had stayed at. Theo grimaced and turned away, leaving the small covered area behind. Lots of burning, and he was spreading the flames. I liked it. It was a nice story. It was pretty nice. It was pretty cool. I'm sleepy. And hoping that this will help people find sleep or relaxation. But now we're in a Vine format. Whoa. Oh, let's find something else. The Fate of Victor Price. Science fiction. There's weird notes on this one. I don't like that. Don't know why they would do that. I guess there's like author's notes, but still. It seems weird to have that sporadically throughout the story. Here's another one that is science fiction. And very, very short. Okay. say that love is the strongest force in the universe. I say it's caffeine, petty vengeance, and a feral cat with abandonment issues. I was headed towards Haven 9, one of the last functional biodomes after the sky collapse. That's where I left Riven. They say it's still standing, but they say a lot of things in the outer wastelands. Usually right before they're eaten by irradiated wolves or swallowed by sinkholes shaped like political slogans. I've been walking for, God, I don't know how long. The sun's gone rogue, the sky looks like old bruises, and the air tastes like melted pennies. My legs don't walk anymore so much as I continue. What? That's fine, there's only one direction left. The tracker died around mile 40. Or maybe I crushed it during a rage blackout after I suggested a moment of gratitude. My gratitude was for its silence when my ears finally stopped ringing. I only know how far I've come because I scratched tallies on my legs with a shard of mirror until I ran out of room. Then I switched to the other leg, and now I just guess. The only creature I trust anymore is Piss Baby. The stray cat I met after I vomited behind a collapsed drone station. She's got a shredded ear, the attitude of a disgruntled war general, and she only bites if you cry out too loud. We talk a lot, and I think she understands. Or is she just waiting for me to die so she can eat my eyelids? Fair. Sometimes I hallucinate Riven walking beside me. I tell them about the sky that cracked open, about the people who went mad from too much drinking, about how I miss my person. My whole damn reason for crawling through ash storms and sleeping under crushed billboards that once offered a luxury anti-radiation condos for the discerning prepper. I tell Riven I'm almost there. That I should have stayed. That I never should have left. But in the end, it's always just me and Piss Baby. And the dust. And the humming static in my skull that might be loneliness or brain rot or hope. The black spires of Haven 9 rose like teeth on the horizon. I limped forward, coughing up what was probably a lung and definitely a fly. Piss Baby trotted beside me like a smug little tink. When we reached the outer gate, I collapsed. The world spun. I had the emergency comm with what might have been my face. A drone descended, casting a long, cold shadow. State your name and purpose. My lips cracked open. I'm here for Riven. Pause. Riven of Registry 867. Admitted. My heart kicked. A flutter of something real. I did it. I made it. I won. Proceed to reunion chamber 1. I staggered upright, leaning on a rail that looked like it had been scrubbed free of memory. The doors hissed open. Inside stood Riven. I took a breath and stepped forward. Riven, I said. My voice cracked on the name. They looked at me and smiled politely. I'm sorry, they said. Do I know you? Oof. I don't really care much for a story. I mean, yeah, it's gotta suck to walk 1,009 miles only to be hit with that after you finally make it. Wonderful. I might do one more. I'll lay down. Let's find something that's not a horror. There's romance. The Night Owl. That's something. Nope, don't like the formatting of that. We're not gonna read that. Night's Bloodbath. That sounds pretty metal. Bloodbath is a great metal band, but this also has bad formatting. I'm sitting out pretty far away from the laptop, so I'm very, very much relying on some good formatting. If it's all like a text wall, it's gonna be so hard. I've been watching a lot of these tsunami, like old school tsunami shows on YouTube lately. And I don't know why, but nostalgia is why, but it brings me back. And it's just been so nice to fall asleep to. I forgot how much I loved Gundam Wing as a kid, even though I never understood what was going on. It was so cool. It was so nice. And but nowadays, like as an adult, going back and watching Gundam Wing, it's still cool, but it's a little cheesy too. In a good way, though. In a oddly charming way. But I'm like, I loved it so much as a kid. And I'm realizing I didn't understand anything that was going on. It was, it's nice. And I'm also like remembering a little bit of Card Captor Sakura. It was odd. Because I didn't realize, like, yeah, I have seen that. I know the ending song. Let's see how long this one is. This isn't too long. It is a wall of text, but it's a fairly short wall of text. So this story is fantasy and is titled Augury. The man dropped coins upon the table that lay in front of Augury. Augury didn't do cards, leaves, or crystal balls. He was nervous. Augury decided to introduce herself. Hello, my name's Augury. Nice to meet you. I will warn you when I see your future. I will see some personal details of your life, but I'll have to take that risk. Do you have any specific information you want me to look out for? Augury had gotten used to the usual answer of how they die. It was what most of her customers asked for. She was wary of it now. My daughter. I can only tell the fortunes of those I touch. Why didn't you bring her? His silence spoke volumes. She looked down embarrassed. Put your hand out. He held out his hand, which was shaking. Augury took deep breaths as she went to touch his hand. It was like reaching out to touch a hot metal rod. She touched his hand and she saw it all. Augury saw it all, the pain, the suffering. She saw the life and the overwhelming death. She saw the emptiness. She could hardly bear telling him, but this was her job. This was her duty. That night, Augury sat in her kitchen, staring into her cup of tea. She hadn't slept properly in months with bags hanging from her eyes. These days, the wind was starting to bite at her, so she covered herself in shawls. The night was approaching like a dark creature prowling. A tear ran down her face. Augury had seen many futures. At first, when she was a child, it was small. She'd see a few hours into the future at first, like what she'd have for lunch tomorrow. Clutching into her mug as she thought of how her life had always been a blind race to the future. Every day she faced being the harbinger of the worst news they'd ever hear. She heard a clattering from her front door, key jingling. Augury walked towards her door, weary. She wiped her face and opened the door. An old man stood in front of her with a blank expression on his face. He held his keys rummaging for a lock. Augury cleared her throat, and the old man looked up. His eyes stared beyond her. We're closed. Damn it, this isn't my house, is it? No. My sincerest apologies. You see, I'm blind. The stern look on Augury's face collapsed. Come in. You must be cold out there. Augury guided the man to the kitchen, making sure not to make contact with his skin. She didn't need another future today. She sat on a kitchen chair, and his shoulders immediately rested into it. Oh my, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Karen. Augury. Pleasure to meet you. He put out his hands that Augury pretended not to see. At tea? She asked. If you wouldn't mind. She poured him a cup of tea from the pot that she was originally going to drink by herself. She handed the cup to him and took a sip from her own. I might be blind, but that doesn't mean I'm unobservant. Unobservant. You are avoiding touching me. I am. Do I look that bad? Augury laughed but stopped herself. No, it's just... Karen waited but got no further answer. What part of town am I in? Terrence Road. Oh, I am far from home. You can stay the night if you wish. I would be abundantly thankful. He paused for a moment. Augury, does anyone else live here? No, just me. Oh, what do you do for a living? Fortune telling. I don't smell candles. I don't use candles. Do you need those to do your fortune telling? You seem to doubt my ability. I am no fraud. Isn't that what they all say? I'd have to see it to believe it. They both chuckled. How can I believe that you're blind? Can't you read my mind or something? I only see futures. Is that why you're avoiding touching me? Yes. That doesn't seem good. yourself. I've spent my whole life just wandering around. I can't imagine how hard that is. I wasn't complaining. You've spent your entire life never seeing what's in front of you. How can that be satisfactory? You've spent your entire life worrying about what's ahead of you and everyone else. How can that be satisfactory? That's great for you. Sadly, you can't accept it for yourself. It's my duty to tell people their future. That's what you think. It's what I know. It's my duty. I've been given this ability. I should use it. The old man reached out and his hand met hers. She tried to pull away, but wasn't fast enough. She saw nothing and gasped. Is it because he's blind, I guess? If she sees it, if she sees the future through their eyes. That's the only thing I can think of with that. I think we're going to end stream. I'm getting sleepy, and also having to hold the mic in a cup still with one free hand. It's not comfortable at all. But I hope that even though it was a short stream, it was still something that left you feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more comfortable, and if you're trying to sleep, that you can find sleep and have sweet dreams. You guys take care. I will see you likely tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But for now, bye bye.
りがとう言うた